With these videos that I'm doing, not only are they videos to help you build your level of brand authority and to make you more visible and credible to your desired target audience, but as I mention all the time, it is also the opportunity for me to develop and refine my skills. Every single day, I'm working 1% to get to my goal and my end destination. And that requires me to be a lot more comfortable and on camera and to have that level of camera confidence as I've been speaking about. And I've been uploading every single day since the start of the year, and we're going strong. And I'm not quitting, right? And that is what I wanted to talk to you about today, right? When is it the right time to quit? And are you someone that should quit? Are you a quitter in that sense? And before I even get into the sort of topic, right, I will be sharing my sort of experiences, my personal experiences as far as quitting is concerned. But, for me, I have no issues with quitting, right? I think quitting is actually a very noble thing to do because when things aren't necessarily working or going to plan and it just doesn't make sense anymore, I feel there's no point continuing to do it if it's not allowing you to continue to learn, to grow, and to refine your skills. And if you're just genuinely over it and no longer enjoying it, it might be best for you to just pack it in really and truly. But then I suppose growing up, right, I was always like my dad, he would be very much forthcoming on the idea of never quit, right? And for me, I took that in a way where if I quit, then it means that I failed. And for me, I sort of aligned the two. And there's no way I'm saying that he said that if you quit, you're a failure. I'm not saying that at all. I took it upon myself to align the two as a thing to say that if you quit, then it implies that you are a failure. And over the years, I've realized that you don't actually fail anything until you actually give it up completely. I'm a big believer in pivoting and doing things in a different way and being able to have those lessons and learnings from things that you've done previously to improve on the situation. So that's what I'm going to talk about a bit more. But before I do that, I wanted to share my screen and share a table that I believe has really helped me in the process of understanding when it's the best way or the best time, in fact, to quit. So let me share my screen. So this was from Stephen Bartlett's book, Sexy Happy Millionaire. That's one of the first books I've read from him, I would say. And that was his debut book as well. So that book was really insightful from his perspective of what he's been able to do. But then this particular table really resonated with me during that time as well, as I believe that was a time when I was sort of in between the idea of thinking, should I continue blogging with content or should I just stop doing it? Should I just give up completely? So then, with that in mind, let's just go through this. So, are you thinking about quitting? Yes. Why are you thinking about quitting? So, based on that, it can either be of one of two things. It can be just hard or it sucks, right? So, let's go on the side of it just being hard. Is the challenge worth the potential reward? If it is, yes, then don't quit. Keep going. Don't stop. If it's a no, then quit. If you feel through the aspects of things that the challenge is worth the potential reward, then you don't quit. You keep going. If you feel that this challenge is not worth the reward, whatever you are going through is not worth the aspects of continuing to do the thing, then you quit. There's no point doing it any longer. However, if it's the case of it not, you don't like it or it sucks, right? Do you believe you could make it not suck? I.e., is there a way that you can make it better or you can improve it or you can make it more fun for yourself or you can make it more refreshing? Are there any avenues where you can make it a process where it's just not sucking, I suppose, in that sense? So if it's a no, if you say you've given it your all, you're giving it your best, then quit, right? And then if it's a yes, is the effort it would take to make it not suck worth it? So now you're thinking that you could make it suck less, but is the actual process of making it suck less worth your time and effort? If it's a yes, then don't quit. Figure out what you can do to improve on that side and do it. However, if it's a straight no, if it is a straight no and it doesn't work for you at all, then quit. And that is the process that I sort of went through when I ultimately quit my music blog. I quit writing about UK music in that regard. So with that, just as a quick background for anyone watching this who may not be familiar or they may not know, I used to run a music blog. That was my first introduction into the world of, I would say, it was indirectly branding and indirectly PR as well. Like really, I had the opportunity to work with PR agencies. I would be the journalist on that side of things. I'll be invited to write about various different artists. I would do like interviews. I'll be going to various different press events. I was living the life. I thought like I made it. Honestly, I thought I made it in this lifetime. But then ultimately, through various different sort of ups and downs in life and everything, it got to a point where I just never felt that I could continue doing it. And it was a hard sort of process for me to give it up at that time as well, because I was very much synonymous with the brand. And if you are familiar with the story, or if you're not familiar with the story, I was very much a faceless brand when I was launching and running my music blog. No one knew who I was per se, but they knew who the blog about the blog. So with that in mind, it was very much a thing where I was behind the scenes, which is quite ironic and interesting with where I'm at now. Well, I'll get into that later. But it got to the point where, because I was someone who was very much not willing to be on camera, not willing to show my face, that ultimately led to just kind of falling behind. And I always go by the line, if you don't evolve, you'll become extinct. And that is ultimately what happened. And in the process of that, I had to decide if I was going to stay doing it or if I was going to quit. So in the same process, I looked at it that way. I said, are you thinking about quitting? I was thinking about it. Why are you thinking about quitting? And for me, it just sucked. It no longer became a thing that I was happy to do. I wouldn't even say it was hard. It wasn't hard. It was easy to do for me. It was easy. It just sucked. It no longer aligned with me. I no longer felt it resonated with me. And I just didn't feel like it was me anymore, based on, I suppose, me being stuck in my ways, but then also everything that happened during that time period made me just feel like I've lost the sort of aspects of doing that form of writing. So with that, I said, do you believe you could make it not suck? And I said, no. I felt in my heart of hearts, I've tried my best and I've used that as a way to quit. But then through the process of quitting that, it opened doors to various different things that I didn't really think was feasible. I never really pondered upon doing at that particular moment in time. So when I ultimately quit the idea of blogging, the love for writing was still very much a thing that I was committed to doing. And it's something that I really enjoyed. I just felt like there was writer's block when it came down to being able to write about the music again. And what I started to do was write about other topics. So this sort of pivot that I made following me quitting then resulted in me writing a ebook. And that ebook was called When the Dust Settles. So I wrote that ebook during the pandemic. And that was during a time where I was still working full time. And during a set of mass redundancies, I kept my role. They kept me on. They felt that I was someone who was someone they shouldn't get rid of and they should keep. So I stayed on during that time. And then through that, I was just hearing about so many people losing their jobs left, right, and center. And I had like my peers, people I used to work with as well, who were made redundant during that process as well. It was a very interesting testing time in that regard. But I was always intrigued with the idea of how I was able to stay on despite everything. Like, what was it that made me the one that was able to stay on rather than being in a position where I had to go through the redundancy process as well? And as I was and still very am a big advocate for wanting to help young professionals and young people get into the industry, whether it's communications, PR, marketing, branding, whatever it is within that realm, I said to myself that I have the know how of how I am able to not only get into the industry, but how to stay in the industry. So I wrote a book, I wrote an ebook. And then that ebook was one of the first aspects of me writing about something other than UK music at the time. So through that, it then made me realize that if I can write about that, then I can write about more or less anything and everything. And then slowly but surely, it then pivoted to me building my brand around the aspects of brand authority and brand building. And then that is when I launched my website. And through the website, I have a blog on there. It's still on there now. I haven't edited my website yet, but I will be editing it very soon. But that's where I started blogging all my content. So every single Wednesday, I've been blogging content since August 2024 from my website, and I recently moved over to Substack. So when I tell you that the writing aspect is something that has stuck with me for years, I genuinely mean it stuck with me for a very, very, very long time, to the point where it's something I would not want to stop doing. But then it's only because of me quitting, I then opened new opportunities for myself and new doors through the lens of writing, which ultimately led to me now being on YouTube and developing this content, because I understand how important it is to incorporate in terms of the aspects of you building your brand and raising your profile and showcasing your expertise. So with that in mind, this is how I got to where I am now. And had it not been for me quitting at the right time, I would still be trying to make sense out of something that wasn't going to move the needle, or something that was never going to work in my favor. But in actual reality, what changed and what helped me in the process is then understanding what quitting meant for me. Because then I was able to do all the things that I felt that I wasn't able to do today. The idea of me recording video content is very much and soon to be second nature for me. The idea of me putting myself forward despite the fears of, what people may think, or putting myself out there, is relinquished. All these things has all started from me being very much mindful about when to quit. So by all means, I would never say to anyone to just give up on whatever you are doing and quit. I would also say to have a look back at this table. Have a look back at this table and ask yourself and follow the process. And honestly speaking, if you go through that process and you feel in your heart of hearts you are ready to quit, that's fine. Quit. But do not give up, because those are two different things. As long as you do not give up, then you are fine. But then if you continue and you quit, then you open the door to new opportunities that will then allow you to continue to grow, to get to the place that you want to get to. And I always envisioned that I would be in this process in my life. I just didn't know exactly what it looked like. But it is a blessing in that sense that I quit, because I quit early enough to then incorporate all the skills that I've learned throughout that time to what I do now. So that's the blessing in itself. So that's it for this video. I hope that this video helps. I hope that it resonates, and I hope that anyone who is in the process of quitting or thinking about quitting, refer back to this video And as far as what I'm doing now, I'm in the process where I don't plan on quitting anything anytime soon, especially these daily uploads. I'm uploading one long form video every single day for 1,000 days. So we got a long way to go. But in the process of doing so, it is a journey that I am very much happy and proud to share. And I hope that you are able to pick up on all the things that will allow me to build a 7-figure brand within 1,000 days. But then you're also then able to pick up on the things I've been sharing with you every single day as well. So on that note, peace out, look after yourself, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace out.